repeat itself. And there's a lot of people now that are starting to have that hair stand up on the back of their neck as they start reading these reports, not just the MIAC reports, but other reports. And we're all starting to realize how friggin' real all this is. Now, this isn't a joke. This isn't a conspiracy theory. 1 in 300 people on the terror watch list, that's a statistic from a couple of years ago. Now they're talking about the body scanners. They're talking about mobile scanners. We'll talk about surveillance now. They're talking about drones over American City. It's not just in the Middle East. And we're being desensitized to the fact that it's taking place. And so we have to become aware of all these things and also go back and look at where things were 10 years ago and develop something that I choose to call pattern recognition. It's not a term I coined. It's a term I'm using to define what we're trying to do, recognize the pattern of tyranny that we're in, that we're going back into the cycle, and things are speeding up. Things are happening at a quicker and quicker rate. There was an article I read recently about the number of laws being passed on a daily, weekly basis in the UK, criminalizing just normal human behavior. And so now we're starting to get a real clear look at the future if we continue on the route that we're on. Language and defining what we're doing, it's very limited. It's much more than politics. I mean, we're talking about human existence. We're not talking about necessarily politics. We're talking about, fighting for our freedoms and wanting to live a different way. Politics is boring to a lot of us, and a lot of these guys that are in office, outside of Ron Paul and outside of former congresswomen like Cynthia McKinney and Mike Gravel and others and Dennis Kucinich, there's a small list, but there's a list. Outside of that box, we don't care about.
As far as politics, I think that I just think that most people, and myself included, is active as we want to be in speaking out and changing what's going on. We're sort of over politics itself. I believe the days of electing a local mayor or the idea of that we put somebody different as our governor, it's just a different figurehead. It doesn't matter, Republicans, Democrats, until you get rid of all of those people, until somebody in this room was actually being able to be electable, nothing's going to change. I mean, I don't think we're going to change it through politics. I think you're just going to have to change it through just sheer will of every single person has to be willing to sacrifice everything. You have to be able to walk away from your family, be it your family or your job, your way of life, and that's scary, but you have to face up to the realities that it's not about politics, it's about living a free life, about being able to watch your children grow up as well. It's not about who our governors are or who our president is, because it doesn't matter. I mean, I ask you, what has changed since this president has come into office? Zero. Nothing has changed. And and God bless the guy that people are screaming at him. Like what is
we got more
changed?
Body scanners.
It's
we got other things.
But at the same time, what could we expect him to do about the economy? He inherited an economy. The next president will inherit an economy. And but politics. I think that we need to take a different approach than the idea that we can make our leaders do anything for us. That's not their job. They're a bunch of lawyers. They're concerned about holding on to their job in the next election. They don't care about you and I. None of them do. Not unless you get down to maybe the very, very basics, at the community level, a county commissioner or something like that, or a school board member. Senators, politics, they don't give a damn about you and I. You give a damn about your own community, then go out and do something yourself. Talk to your neighbor. How many of you people know your next door neighbor's name? If you live in an apartment building, damn, that should be even easier.
I think my neighbors are scared of me.
But I encourage people to speak the truth no matter what the consequences are for them. When everybody can start doing that, speak the truth, what that is to you, regardless of the consequence, that's when things will start to change.
I know, I can't wait until the whole world starts singing that tune called Truth. I think that things would change, and I was just listening to what the gentleman was talking about before about politics being dead, and I think about politics as being like one platform, like one way that the whole game is being played out. there's many other ways that the game is played out. Some people go to church and play the game out that way, and other people, you know, I don't know, they drink PBR and they play it out that way. Somebody drinking too much PBR.
Portland after hours at so-and-so's bar.
I think it's everywhere. It's sad, but it's like a you know, it's kind of like all these ways that we can play it out. But when you do get back to speaking your own truth, and when you connect those truths with a universal kind of truth, and I think that that's the consciousness that's going to start impinging itself, start playing itself against the power that's trying to close that consciousness down.
And get the people to stop talking.
Stop talking, stop going to the internet, don't eat coffee shops, get on your Twitter, which is owned by the Google CIA. You know, like, I don't know. Play your games, the games that are run by the military intelligence complex. So that's a really
like
good
that one, Call of Duty.
I'm concerned about a lot of these things that sort of look like cell phone towers, and I don't know if that's exactly what they are, or they look like smaller versions of cell phone tower. But if you start looking alongside the roads, especially along like I-5, through the Tuoliger curves, out 26, but just in most of the neighborhoods, you're going to find a lot of these cell phone tower type of things, and they usually come like, you'll see like 2, 3, 4 in a grid. But I'm just sort of curious if everybody else has noticed these, you know, these odd-looking cell phone tower-type contraptions. But
they're working to scramble the old Gulliver, I think.
Yeah. Well, and this, which brings up, not recently, just in the paper, it was 2 things in the paper. One was, it was a study that that linked some of the bee problems, you know, with them finding their homes to the signals on the cell phone towers, and they say that they're losing their way back to their nests. And on the same page that was in, there was a subsequent article that said that, and if something wasn't going to be done by within the next 10 years, we could lose the bee populations. And then in another article related to that, AT&T had just announced 100 new cell phone towers that were good that they were putting in. I'll tell you what, too, if you actually speak to people in person, you're more actually maybe likely to go and research something on their own. I think it's easy for people to skip over information on the internet as just one more thing or a commercial. But if you actually speak to somebody in person and point a couple things out to them, and then just say, hey, I'm not judging you, here's some information, research it on your own, I think that's a pretty good way to reach people as well. But you're right, doing it in person rather than on the phone or on the internet is a little more.
Feed me. Feed me. Feed me.
Unlimited text messaging.
Unlimited service. Put me next to your head. I want to put a tumor in your body. I want to impregnate you with a big tumor. Okay, that's enough. So, David, you found something very interesting and you're going to show it to us.
Yeah, it's in the Mercury. It's also in the Willamette Week, but you got inked, now get poked. H1N1, is it in our community?
Oh, it's just so hot. Oh, let the system just stick a mercury-filled vaccine in you. You know you like daddy, don't you? Telling you who to vote for and what to put in your body. You rebel, you PBR drinking Portlander that's progressive and voted for Obama. Same Obama that's telling you to get the shot in order to stay safe. David.
Well, it's easy, it's fast. Get your H1N1 flu shot, folks.
We're talking dirty. We're talking dirty. Give me a little more. Yeah.
Get your Mercury.
Well, that's about it for our little coffee shop conversation here. Now it's off to Hawthorne Boulevard to talk to the sheeple and ask anyone if they know anything about what's going on as we experience the quiet before the storm. Stick around.
Gentlemen, now I speak English. La campagnola bella.
So we are here on Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard, again here to talk with people about the real issues. Hello, we're doing a special on Access TV about